Hello and welcome to the Philippines. Many of you know that I've recently moved. I have gone through some challenges trying to get usable internet in my new place, and I'm going to share some of those options, some of the challenges I've had, some of the fixes that I've had to do in order to get usable internet, which I believe I now have. And I am also interested in hearing from you, see what kind of experiences you have in different parts of the Philippines, trying to get internet that is consistent and a decent enough speed so you can get things done that you want to get done. An internet cafe can be an option for many of you who don't need much on the internet. And I know a number of expats who fit into that category. They don't really care for the internet that much. But most of us, it would be rather inconvenient unless it's right around the corner from where we're at. And so that isn't, even though it's cheap, it's not a convenient option. Many people will use a data plan on their phone or a pocket Wi-Fi along with a number of different promos that you can get on for a few days, a week, a month, whatever. Basically a pocket Wi-Fi like this or your phone data plan. They have, depending upon the carrier, a number of different plans. But for 1 month, for 1,000 pesos, 20 US dollars, you get about 800 megabytes a day. And then at midnight, that gives you another 800 megabytes. And what I found with Globe is that after you've reached that 800 megabytes, is that they cut your speed way back, so it might be usable for email, but not for much else. And at Persimmon condos, I did not have a wireless setup, so I used a combination of a pocket Wi-Fi and a smart home Wi-Fi system, what they call Wi-Fi system, and that plugs in. It's powered through electrical outlet and was quite a bit faster than my pocket Wi-Fi. But it was limited on how much data I could use every day. 800 megabytes, it shut off with smart instead of just slowing down. These pocket Wi-Fi systems and home Wi-Fi systems can work well and take care of the needs of many people, but it's not the ideal situation for some of us. Myself, I upload a lot of data, and I run out of data on these plans very quickly, even though they tend to be relatively fast and they work and they're mobile. You can take them with you. I've traveled with these, plugged them in, and they've given me good internet in many places, but not all places if there's a signal in the area. The units themselves usually cost right around 1,200 pesos, 24 bucks, something like that, and or on up from there. The Globe unit is registered to Globe, only works on Globe. The Smart units works on Smart system, which is PLDT system. You can buy units, more generic units that will work on any system in the area. So that might be an option too. When I moved into my new place recently, the agent provided me with this Globe at Home prepaid Wi-Fi unit. And it means you buy load just like you do with your phone. You buy load ahead of time, use it up. And they've got a number of specials, promotions. For 599 pesos, about 12 US dollars, good for 15 days. And I believe in that 15 days you were allowed 45 gigabytes of data. So good chunk of data. And that was seemed like a real good solution. Seemed like enough data to work with. The problem is, I was told that well, when I plugged it in, found out that it was usable, but barely. Very, very, very slow. At times you couldn't get a signal. At times my speed test software would tell me that the speed was 0, even though it was more than that, because I was able to watch some videos. They would buffer at times, and I was even able to, over the course of about an hour and a half, I even uploaded a short video. But I've been told that above about floor 7, they don't work very well. 7th floor and below, you've got a pretty decent Wi-Fi signal, and you'll get a pretty fast speed. I am several floors above that, and I've tried placing it in different parts of the unit, and usually I get one bar. Occasionally it bumps up to two or three, but regardless of what the bars show, I've got some pretty slow internet with that, so that was not a good option. The next thing you'll find out is that wherever you're living, is that the area, the subdivision, the condo, the apartment, one company may have the exclusive. Now that's not always the case, but it is many times. One company put the wiring into the building. They are the only people who can mess with that wiring. And here where I'm living, I do have fiber optic available. And it is through PLDT, Philippine long distance company it's called. They also own Smart and Sun cell companies. I did not want to sign a 2-year agreement. So after some research, we found out that PLDT, in fact, had a plan where you didn't have to sign a contract. The catch was that you had to pay money up front. Basically, you pay a penalty up front. That penalty amounted to 4,500 pesos, and so I signed up for that. I paid the penalty, and I believe that rather paying the penalty up front for me is probably less than if I, at some point in the next 2 years, if I had a contract, if I paid a penalty at that back end. Now, if I end up keeping the unit for 2 years or more, then I've kind of wasted that 4,500 pesos, obviously. After I went down to a PLDT office and made that deposit, the next day, 2 installers showed up. And shout out to them. They came equipped and personable. Brian Ibarito and Jerome Tyre, I think, are the. Not sure if I pronounced those right, but it was pleasant working with them. And there was a search all over the condominium looking for the box where the wiring was for the fiber optic cable, and didn't have much luck finding it. The last place that we could have looked, they ended up going down talking to maintenance, and maintenance said, well, it's behind this plate up here in the upper right-hand corner. And took that plate off. Sure enough, the fiber optic cable was up there, and they hooked up the unit. Didn't take, I think, the whole time there, maybe 30 minutes. And much of that was just searching for the cable. There was a number of different covered outlet type places, and pulling covers off of those and looking for wiring. One issue they had right away was that optic cable coming in there was very short already. This building is about 4 years old, so who knows how many times it's been. People have gone in there and cut it back and installed something, and anyway, that cable was pretty short to work with, and so that was a bit of an issue. I have two bands on this thing, and he said depending on your device, one device might work better on one band than the other. And I haven't noticed a difference yet, but I'll do some speed checks to just see what the deal is there. Part of the deal is you get a phone, modem, and that's the box up there that they install. Just barely had enough line to reach out there and install that box, and I will get into more of the issues with that here in a bit. Because less than 2 hours later, I no longer had a signal. That red light there means no optical signal being received. And I went through various trying to reset it. I unplugged it for a time, plugged it back in, unplugged some of the other cords, plugged them back in, and I've had that work in the past when I've had issues where it resets or locks onto a different signal. Anyway, no luck this time. And so we had begun celebrating a little early, had bought some Dunkin' Donuts to celebrate this event, and we were too early. We reported this issue to PLDT very quickly and several times each day for several days. and didn't really get any good answers or anybody saying, yeah, we will set up an appointment for you. All we could get is somebody saying that it has been reported. So we ended up going down to the PLDT office. I let my girlfriend do all the talking, and I stayed quite a ways away from the conversation. They would be talking in Bisaya, and I would pick up a few words here and there, and I would probably interject some of my thoughts and just confuse the issue. Anyway, we had been told on the phone a number of times that, and this lady here initially told us that the account had not been activated yet. Wait 4 or 5 days, and that was the first thing we were told, and that didn't seem right at all. And then the lady asked her, is there a flashing red light? And she said, yes. Well, then it's an equipment issue. So they finally narrowed it down. It was not an issue of being activated. So at that time, we left, and actually, we pretty close to Fuentios Mina Circle. We were walking up towards that circle. I wanted to go into Robinson's, and she got a telephone call on her cell phone, and saying the service people were already at our place. So they obviously were probably already in the building servicing somebody else. And so we rushed home and met them there. And they commenced to fixing it. They cut that wire back even further. The service guy there, he explained he thought that the connection originally, as it was set up, was too short. So they end up shortening the wire further and making the connection a stronger connection, I believe, using a bigger chunk of that wire as the connection. And I don't understand why, if it worked for 2 hours originally, why it would just stop working like that. But those are technical things. Engineers can figure those things out, or sometimes they can't figure them out. It's just things that happen. So anyway, that's an optical wire. So you have light coming through, you have data coming through as light, which is very interesting technology indeed. We are back up and running, and I just did a speed test, and my speed says it's download at 16 megabits per second, upload of 18 megabits per second. I'm paying for 15 megabits per second, so that is right in that range. And that's costing me, I believe, 1,699 pesos a month for the 15 megabit per second plan. One issue here is that with the shortened cord there's no longer space for that to be mounted outside of that box, or even to put the cover on that box. So we are requesting that somebody else comes back over. It's going to take some time. Bring a longer optical cable, and having it sit right there at the door is very inconvenient, very easy to bump into it. So run that over the bathroom door and find another spot, a little further, a little more convenient, a little safer spot for that thing to sit at. Someone commented on one of my videos recently and asked, how long will it take to get fiber optic internet installed? And somebody else commented that it depends. It might never get installed. And what you'll find is the industry is evolving, and it is improving generally. They have a third internet company in the process of getting set up here called Mislatel, I think. And there's some kind of partnership, I think, between a Chinese company and some company here in the Philippines. So hopefully that will bring in some competition. The two installers here told me that they had been recently hired, so I think that because of the added competition coming on board, companies like PLDT and Globe are trying to step up, hire more people, work a little bit better at customer service, or they're going to lose a bunch of customers, depending upon the reputation that this new company gets very quickly. I remember when T-Mobile came into the U.S. Prior to that, seemed like they were all working together to keep rates high. T-Mobile came in. I was one of the first subscribers. They were one of the first companies to lower rates and bring in competition. And I was very faithful to them. They did a very good job for me for many, many, many years. Hopefully that will happen here. Hopefully that competition will lower rates and bring us better coverage, better speeds. Anyway, I am interested in hearing about your experiences in the different parts of the Philippines. So thank you for watching. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and I'll see you next time.